Call it being a superfan or celebrity worship syndrome. Obsessing over a celebrity can sometimes leave superfans absolutely starstruck and willing to do just about anything to get the celebrity's attention and show their devotion. Although this may seem like a concept only pertinent in the 20th century and after, there were superfans dating back as far as humans could gather an audience. Shakespeare fans were said to practice bardolatry. Fans of the 18th century writer Voltaire were called Voltairians. Oprah Winfrey Way in Chicago, Mark Hamill Drive in Claremont, California, and Astaire Avenue in Culver City all seek to honor celebrities with a street named after them. Well, back in 1910, one such superfan managed to quietly name the whole village he was developing after a celebrity he admired, 16-year-old Ethel Grandin, a stage actress who he saw in one single show. And 100 years later, this small village continues to be the hub for the arts and cinema. Neither the current villagers nor Ethel when she was alive realized the connection. Who is Ethel Grandin? Welcome to SkyParlorHistory, where we rummage around in America's attic and awaken the sleeping stories of the past. Before we get started, subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment on the next story you'd like us to uncover. In the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, in the middle of the city of Roanoke, Virginia, lies the historic Grandin Village. The Grandin Village serves as a cultural hub in Roanoke. The village itself is on the National Registry of Historic Places, and today is home to a natural foods co-op, locally owned coffee shops, and multicultural restaurants, a 1950s-style soda shop, ballet company, children's theater, and much more. Arts and culture thrive in Grandin, but the crowning glory is the Grandin Theatre. The Grandin Theatre is the 1932 movie palace that screened the first talkie in Roanoke. It holds the distinction of being the only historic movie house in the Roanoke Valley and is the only theater in the area that can be counted on to screen both art house films as well as blockbusters. And with the 2016 edition of the Grandin Theatre Film Lab, an after-school filmmaking program, the Grandin Village has solidified itself as a place for movie lovers and a hub for the art of cinema. So, how did this little suburban village grow into the diverse, artsy community we have today? Well, it all started 460 miles north of Roanoke, Virginia, in New York, with a little girl named Ethel. Ethel Grandin was born in New York City in 1894 into a family of entertainers. Ethel's grandmother was an actor and a dancer, and her uncle Elma Grandin was a leading man on Broadway. At just 7 years old, Ethel started working as an actress in the famous playwright and actor Joseph Jefferson's long-running play, Rip Van Winkle. From that experience, she went on to work with other actors of the turn of the century, performing in vaudeville acts until joining the esteemed songwriter and actor Chauncey Olcott's company for 3 years. In 1910, at the age of 16, Ethel joined the Cecil Spooner Stock Company and toured for just 1 year. This was the year that Ethel Grandin most likely visited Roanoke, Virginia. On Christmas Day of 1910, the Roanoke Academy of Music on Salem Avenue, long gone, in downtown, played host to Cecil Spooner's play The Little Terror, and this happened to be the year that young Ethel Grandin was touring with Spooner. According to the Roanoke Times and Nelson Harris in his book Greater Raleigh Court, the late Judge James Bryce recounted that as a young boy, he had heard a customer in his father's drugstore, Bryce's Drugs and Soda, tell stories of how when the now Grandin Village was being developed in the early 1900s, one of the realty company partners attended a performance at the Academy of Music where Ethel Grandin was the leading lady. He was starstruck and decided to name the Central Boulevard in the new development after her. Ethel Grandin grew tired of the travel required for touring theater, so she returned to New York in 1911, apparently shortly after her visit to Roanoke, and auditioned for several film companies. The first was Biograph Pictures, and she was quickly frustrated when a pioneering director, D.W. Griffith, lifted up her skirt and inspected her legs. She was so disgusted she refused to go back the next day. So instead, she met with a film director with IMP, Independent Motion Pictures, later to be part of Universal Pictures, who signed her on as his lead actress. Soon after, she departed for Los Angeles with IMP as their lead actress, along with the dedicated cinematographer Ray Smallwood, who would soon become her husband. Ethel Grandin appeared in over 100 films between 1911 and 1922. She even formed her own production company with her husband, Grandin Films, from 1 reel shorts to 6 reel features, including one of America's first feature-length films. Grandin Films didn't have the resources to continue with the new industry trend of feature films, and they attempted to stay afloat in the business by making just 1 reel shorts. However, after several attempts to stay afloat, Ethel Grandin's production company folded, and her final appearance in film was in A Tailor-Made Man in 1922. She retired from acting and filmmaking in her late 20s and spent some time selling cosmetics. She remained married to her only love, Ray Smallwood, until his death in 1964, and then she lived on until the age of 94. In her 80s, Ethel, although still mentally and physically agile and active, lost her ability to speak, returning her to the mute silent star of her past. Ethel lived out her life in Los Angeles, having 60 years to remember her time on the silver screen. Ethel Grandin was a pioneer in the field of filmmaking as an actress and an entrepreneur and a business owner, and most likely never knew that she had a street, a village, and a neighborhood movie theater named after her some 2,500 miles from her LA home. And most people in this vibrant community also have no idea that one of America's very first movie stars inspired the name and somehow the flavor of the Grandin Village in Roanoke, Virginia. So, what are your thoughts? If you were Ethel Grandin, would you be flattered or a little bewildered? Let us know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.